Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it is time for the Monday Q&As, so let's get it done. First question. Advice for first powerlifting meet. Alright, for guys who are doing their first meet, your first meet is all about going in, learning how to compete, building confidence. Now, I hate it when I hear people say things like, oh, I'm not going to compete until I'm ready to win, till I know I can go in and win. Well, here's the problem with that. You don't know what your competition is going to be like. You might walk in and with 3 years of really hard training, you might find that you can win regional meets, and you might find that you get some badasses who show up and you're going to come in 8th place with the exact same lifts as if you had gone to a different regional meet just 100 miles away. You don't know who's going to turn up unless you've researched historically who lives in the area, who's likely to turn up. A lot of work. It's a silly way to look at it. Get in and compete to learn. You don't expect to win your first meet unless you're Jamie Lewis. So what you need to do is go in, don't worry about weight classes, don't worry about cutting for a meet because you're not going to be competitive your first meet, even if you're really good, because you're probably going to be nervous, you're going to have to learn everything. Purpose of the first meet is to go in, learn how to do things, end up in whatever weight class you end up with. You don't need to be worrying about water manipulation or anything else your first time. You need to worry about focusing on getting 9 out of 9 attempts, not getting red lighted for anything, making sure that you can execute all the lifts correctly and listen to the commands of the judges. You're also going in to develop a social network. That first meet, you should be there to meet other lifters who live in your area, to meet other coaches who live in your area, to develop a network of resources. Get to know people. Your first meet also needs to be a social event. You need to go there to try to meet people. What you're going to find in most powerlifting, at least in the type of feds that I have competed in historically, obviously this isn't always true of some of the feds that have a more elitist attitude, but if you're not competing in one of those, you're going to find people be very social, they'll be very supportive. Find other people there, talk to the other competitors, and you let them know that you're a novice lifter, that you're new to this, at your first meet, but that you're eager to be there and compete. People are going to be very supportive. You're going to make friends really easily. And those people are going to be valuable resources for you in the future, and working on your own training, coordinating, even getting other people to be at the same meets to help you with things, to help you with organizing things, or who would be willing to help you figure out what you need to do for later attempts, who'll be watching your list so that they can give you advice on how fast or slow you were, things like that. That's what you need to focus on, is that social aspect also. That's going to be really helpful to you in the future. So don't worry about going in to win. Don't worry about things like water manipulation. You're there to basically learn and meet people your first meet. All right, next question. Thoughts on detraining slightly before a season of training. I have an arduous military course coming up. Last time I tried the course, I peaked too early and burned out. This time, should I take 2 weeks or more off before I start? I had multiple similar questions to this, so I'm going to answer all of these. Guys, there is no training benefit to taking complete downtime for a week or two, which I had a couple people ask similar questions, even on strength stalls. If you are peaking too early, or you are exhibiting signs of chronic overreaching, you need to take deloads. Do not take downtime. You will never see a greater benefit from downtime than you will from purely deloading. In fact, generally your performance will do better afterwards if you deload instead of completely detraining. So no, don't take downtime, guys. Do a 1 week, or if you need to for something like this, it's really arduous, a 2-week deload. And oftentimes for an event like that, as I happen to know a number of guys who do spec ops schools and things, go ahead and feed yourself up for that couple of weeks. Go ahead and carb load heavier, eat more, gain a little bit of body fat, because for most of these intensive military physical training courses, you're going to lose weight. And if you go in with if you can add just an extra 3 or 4 pounds of body fat with completely full glycogen stores and all of that, when you go in, you're going to handle the long term of the course a little bit better. So bulk up for a couple of weeks and deload if you need to, but do not take downtime. All right, next question. Are deadlifts useless for contact sports? None of my coaches care for the lift. Kind of an interesting question. Now, if someone grapples at all, then this is completely out. Obviously, a deadlift is going to be very, very helpful there. A lot of coaches don't like it, and I don't always agree with their logic here, but a lot of coaches in contact sports, will assume like American football, rugby, things like that, don't like the deadlift because it isn't a pushing motion. When you hit people on a field, there's almost always a pushing motion. A squat, a bench press, a push press. Lifts like that are going to give you more hitting power on the field, and they don't see the biomechanical advantages of the deadlift there. And on top of that, it taxes the lower back, it impedes recovery, you can do less overall training if they have people doing heavy deadlifts, so they don't like it. Now, I think that it still plays a valuable role. I don't think people should be doing tons of deadlifting for a contact sport. They need a relatively low volume of it, but it is helpful for developing overall strength. It is helpful for balancing out a lot of those pushing muscles to have a lower rate of injury, because it does build all the erectors and the hamstrings and all of those things up. So I think it's valuable for balancing your strength and injury prevention. And then as far as their concerns about the lower back, yeah, there are some contact sport athletes who the lower back becomes an issue. And I would say the best remedy for that, and obviously if you're competing in a real sport, you have access to decent equipment most of the time, I would recommend a lot of those coaches put those people on a trap bar deadlift instead. If the lower back is really becoming an issue for them, the trap bar deadlifts will sort that out. And they'll still get the field athlete benefits of doing a deadlift from it. Alright guys, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time in part 2.